Hello, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon Live. Because you don't know how it's going to turn out.
My kids empowered me to get out.
What's going on with this remote learning and in the midst of COVID?
Working for different elected officials, learning and understanding how to put the community first.
Hello, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon. We are back. I know we went on break for a while. It was because I was sick. I got real sick. But I'm feeling much better now. Thank everybody for their calls and their prayers. And I'd also like to share our good news. We won 2 awards of the Be Free Awards from Bricks Arts Media on Saturday. So congratulations to us, Keeping It Real with Shannon. So take a look. Take a look at our little speech. Oh my God, I made it! Oh my God, we only got a few minutes. I have to talk fast. I just want to say, Brick, I started out with DCAT, so I'll always go with DCAT. My show kicked off in 1998. I come with a lot of drama. So my first show was King Tone, who was the head of the Latin King. And DCAT really had a fit because I brought a gangster into the studio. But we made history that night because the NBC was following him that day. They came and take me, show an interviewing him, so we was on NBC that night. But it was okay with DCAT after that. So, but I want to thank all the staff at DCAT for all your help. All the staff, Kareem, Tyrone, Jay, and Leslie, all of them for supporting us. Also, I want to thank my director here, Tiffany, my co-host, Allison, my other co-host is traveling. And, we've come a long ways. We also won the National Festival Award when we had to go to Texas to get that award. So this is our 3rd award, so we've been doing pretty good. So I think I'm about the last producer that started out with me, so I'm the old one now. So I want to say to the young producers, keep doing what you are doing, but most of all, enjoy what you're doing with your show. So keep it going. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, congratulations to us.
Well, I feel left out.
Well, nobody told you to go travel, so that's you.
No, but you don't say the other co-host is traveling. You supposed to mention my name. What do you mean co-host is traveling?
Well, they know who you are, Dr.
No, they
Vanessa.
don't. No, they don't.
They know who you are, Dr. Vanessa. So next time, make sure your butt's here. That's all.
You know I was on.
So thank you for joining us tonight. We have a great show. Yes. Our topic tonight is how to get a simple divorce, if you were thinking about it. So we have a very special guest joining us, and so we're going to introduce him at this time.
Yes, our special guest tonight is Mr. Salam Francois. He is a paralegal at Premier Life Solutions, and his specialization is divorce. I'm not talking about just any divorce. The quickest divorces you can get filed within a week. So everybody's knocking at his front door. So let's welcome our guest tonight, Mr. Salam Francois.
Great day, ladies. Great day. Thank you so much for having me. I'm on an award-winning show, and Lottie, you have not only an Oprah presence about you, but you have 2 Gails, and one of them is sitting right next to you. So shout out to
Yes.
the other one, Allison, that's missing. Shout out to Tiffany. This is fantastic. I'm so happy to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for coming on tonight. This is very interesting because, every time we are getting married, the next thing you know, we're getting divorced. And, a lot of that is going on now. And I guess, we need to really kind of think about it, but that's what we're saying. The first thing we need to think about is why people want to get married.
They just jump to marriage so quick. They don't have a plan. They don't see counseling. They just because.
Just because is right. You know what's interesting? The fact is that marriages are still at a high level, above 50%. But divorces have increased about 65% within the first 5 years. 65% within the first 5 years. Now, there's a lot of politics that go into that, such as same-sex marriages, civil unions that got converted to formal marriages, which are, what's considered now traditional marriages. So that kind of contributed to the uptick. But divorce is definitely on the rise, and it's almost like the newest thing to do with a lot of couples.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, I know sometimes people say it's good to go to counseling, but I always felt like, what's the purpose of going to counseling anyway? Because you still got to get to know the person, and the only way you get to know each other is when you start hibernating together and finding out about each other, their ways. You have to learn what makes that person tick, what upsets them, what makes them angry, and if you know what makes them angry and everything, then don't do those things to them. You got to know how to treat each other. And it's all about learning each other and not be willing to snap and jump as soon as a big argument happens. Talking about, I'm out of here.
But
right.
I wonder how many, Sandra, I'd like for you to tell me, have the divorce rate increased since COVID? Because, during COVID, people had to meet their spouses, right? How many spouses wasn't home? They don't know who's who, what they look like. They're home now. They have no choice but to know each other. So did divorce rates go up after COVID?
Well, you know what, Doc? I'm going to tell you something that happened when March 2020, what took place was I got calls from a lot of my friends. They said, man, you're about to make a lot of money, because everyone was home. But I got to tell you, when I speak to attorney colleagues and my non-attorney colleagues that are in the business, we all say the same thing. The divorces didn't start to increase until the courts reopened. Because one thing people didn't factor in is, we're stuck at home. Yeah, we might get a little conflict or discover we had conflict all along, but there was nowhere to go because you had to stay home. So that means the people in the court were home too. So the divorces did not start to increase until the courts opened up over a year later.
Yeah, but I figure if that started during the pandemic, then something was going on before the pandemic, because if you should have known who each other is before the pandemic even happened. You stand together. So that means you're not taking any time with each other way before the pandemic comes, that you wasn't spending no time getting to know each other. Because it's the same thing with the children. You didn't know you had bad children until you had to keep them home during the pandemic. Then you knew how bad it was and what the teacher was going through. So that's what I'm saying. That's the same thing to me with your husband or your wife, is because you're not getting to know each other.
No, it's long before the pandemic, right? We're not talking about people that
but we're not talking about people that you don't know each other.
No, but that's what I'm saying, is when they got to know each other, they realized that's not what they want. So now when you stuck in the house with somebody that could be a stranger to many,
I don't think it's not that you didn't know that's not what you wanted. I think it's because now you realize now that you didn't spend time with each other like you should have, so you can get to know each other.
But now,
and that was a perfect opportunity to get to know each other. But for the most part, what happened, Doc, I'm going to tell you, because I'm going to pass the mic to you. What happened was people went the other way. When they realized that they had a stranger sleeping next to them, that's when they had time to realize, I hope they realized, that I was distracted by work. We were distracted by the kids, which I can say from my own personal experience. Sometimes we can get so lost in the kids, and wanting to maintain a great family. And in my case, which we'll talk about if you want, you want to have the proper family image, that we're the Francois, for example, that what would happen is when all the lights go out and it's just you two, you realize that you don't know who the other person is.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. And then when you talk about the kids,
so since you were in the house together and you realize, okay, well, I didn't know that about him or whatever. So why wouldn't you still try to get to know that person while you stuck together and everything? So now this is an opportunity for you to try to kind of really get to know each other. I think people that jump too quickly to want to leave each other.
Sometimes too much time passes. And that's the opportunity to exit. Sometimes people need an excuse. Sometimes people need a reason to marinate and to think about what they had and what they don't want. Don't forget, these people was home from work, so they spent time at assessing their own selves, right? They wasn't like going to work 9 to 5, 10 next to work, so they had a whole idea. Look at themselves every day. Look at their environment every day. Look at their four walls every day. Like, damn, you know what? Either I could do better by myself, or this is definitely what I don't want. So they had more. It was like a self-care.
Speaking of self-care, you know who did make money? Therapists.
Yes.
Made tons of money, especially because all of them had to hunker down. Instead of taking people one by one, 45 minutes, 45 minutes, 45 minutes, they were shortened to 20 or 30-minute session. Click, 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 next,
exactly.
next. And I dare to say, for a lot of the therapy, and shout out to all my therapists, pretty much everyone in America needs a therapist. Everyone in the world probably needs somebody to talk to.
Oh, yeah, we all need therapy.
So, amen. Let the church say amen. So, but with that being said, the quality of therapy is the question, because I encountered a lot of therapists, you know, in my work that were reaching out to me for referrals. You would think they had enough people, but they're reaching out to me for referrals. And I started to screen them, talk to them. And I would see, just like any other field, you have low end, middle, which is the majority, and then you have the high end. The high end you can never gain access to. The middle is hit or miss in terms of how good they are. And low, they're just ready for you, but they're not going to give you the treatment you need. So when people were at home, they either got bad therapy, they refused it, or they just got therapy for themselves and all of a sudden had a reawakening that perhaps I can do this by myself. Now, whether that was good or bad, that's a personal choice. But it did contribute to what I'm receiving now, which is a huge increase in divorces, people not giving each other a chance, not wanting to do the work, not wanting to woosah and have grace, and to just look at each other and say, you're just as messed up as I am, and I'm just as messed up as you are. Let's figure this out.
But you know, we're quick to say that people it's quick to get a divorce, but we fail to realize too, we don't know how much they have been through to get to that point. Okay, easy to say, have you talked about it? Have you tried counseling? Did you think about it? Or maybe we should try it again. Sometimes that's all it takes. You know, and you don't know how much a person put up with, and they see an outlet, another resource, other resources that are out there. They say, okay, I want to do something else. I want to branch out. This was a chapter in my life. Let me put this behind me. Let me move forward. Let me do something new. And it's okay. We have to always let people know that it's okay to say no. It's okay, but you don't want something. It's okay if you have grown and went beyond what people think as the norm. Okay, you got a mother and father, husband and wife, you have kids, but sometimes you can't always have the ideal family setting, and there's a problem. I think that causes more harm than help.
And I think to piggyback on that very briefly, Doc and Shannon, what we're looking at is also, while some people did the self work, they didn't do the family work, and some couples don't establish a therapy routine because one of the people just refuses to cooperate. Let's be honest. But at the same time, what we're looking at is the fact that what's being exposed is people didn't do the work in terms of like what Shannon's saying.
Well, hold that thought. Hold that thought, Sandler. We're going to go to break and we'll be right back.
Gotcha.
We'll be right back.
It's Shannon. It's Shannon.
People couldn't see my potential, so I had to show them.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
Today, I'm the CEO of my own company.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
Why are we not rethinking this?
I am more.
I'm more
than who I am on paper.
Welcome back. Our guest tonight is Mr. Sandler Francois.
You got it. It's smooth. Come on now.
We're talking about the simple paperwork for divorce and trying to stay together before we get to the divorce that we was talking about before we went to the break. But if you decide that you just can't stay with each other and you feel that you just can't work it out, then okay, go on and get your paperwork and get your divorce. And Mr. Sandler is going to show you how to get some simple paperwork done to get a simple, quick divorce that you think is simple, but it's not.
No, it's not very simple. One thing I like to tell people, there is a word that I like to emphasize tonight, and it's the word pro se, P-R-O -S-E, pro se. Do it yourself, DIY, do it yourself. And I have some people that come to me. You can go to the court to get forms. They'll give you a big stack of forms that you'll probably never get through unless you have a whole lot of time in your hands and a ton of patience. But long story short, I get a ton of people that come to me with these forms and they say, I need help just going through this. And they think after 30 minutes, they'll get everything done. And I tell them that's a lie. And I ask them, what do you do? And they say, well, I'm a chef. I say, okay, so suppose I come to your job and I say, move aside, I'm going to cook tonight. You would probably look at me like I'm crazy. Not because I can't cook, but because I don't do what you do on a daily basis, the way you do it. So I try to explain to someone, while you can get the job done, and I encourage the small percentage, notice I said small percentage of people that can utilize the court's forms to get a simple divorce done, the majority of people should receive some sort of assistance. And it starts with this. First, speak to your spouse. Before you call a lawyer, before you call a paralegal, before you call a paralegal or a divorce professional like myself, or the few that are out there that are high quality, I would say speak to your spouse. Get the business parts out of the way first before you start filling out paperwork. Because what I tend to see, ladies and gentlemen out there, a lot of times you'll come out to me and I'll see you're doing it backwards. The same thing that contributed to the conflict in the marriage is going to contribute to a very turbulent divorce because you're doing things backwards. You're putting your heart in front of the business. And if you put the business in front, then your heart will have time to heal.
So the thing about it is now the paper, if they don't use the paperwork, the papers from the courts, do you have a simplified paperwork for them to use to expedite the divorce, or you still use the court paperwork?
Absolutely not. Well, first, they come to us. We don't use the court's paperwork for a few reasons. One, the court's paperwork, while it's written up by court officers, the left hand, the court officers that draw up the paperwork, do not work with the judges who sign off. So many times people will come with that stack of paperwork and say, I got this back from the court and they said it's no good and I have to fix it. And they wouldn't even tell me what the problem is. And it's their stuff. And I would say, well, guess what? The people that drafted it and the clerks that reviewed it have no power like the judge that signs it off. And by the time the judge looks at it, he or she kicks it back. And they just give you a few explanations that are hard to understand. So then you come to me. What I do for people in that situation is I look at it, I keep the parts that are working, that didn't have an issue, and I work on the trouble parts and I draft it fresh. But if you're coming to our office in general, we start you with a simple interview. It's a 4-step process, and I like to call it how to get divorced fast. And when it comes to how to get divorced fast, it's only 4 steps. And any divorce process, once you make the important decision, the hardest part is making a decision. Everything else should be easy as far as the paperwork's concerned, because you have a whole life over here that you have to reconstruct. You know, personally, myself, Lonnie, Dr. V, we can't help you with that. You know, you have to reconstruct your life. So leave the burden with us. And it starts with an interview, gathering of names, addresses, dates of birth for you, your spouse, the children, if there are any. So that's number one, a simple interview. A lot of the information you tend to know off the top of your head without a problem. Most people know where their marriage dates are. Ha, ha, ha. Most men don't remember when they were married. But guess what? They can get their hands on the marriage certificate. So it starts with step 1. Step 2 would be some paperwork that has to be drafted, which you'll then sign, and it gets taken to the court. Step 3 is then time for your spouse to sign. And the number one question I get asked is, can either of you ladies, Shannon or Dr. V, when I say, okay, it's time for your spouse to sign, can you guess the number one question? The number one question I get when I say it's time for your spouse to sign.
I don't know where he is.
No, wait a minute. You mean tell me he have to sign it? I can't just divorce him.
Those are good. Those are good. That's number 2. That's number 2. The number one question that people ask me is, what if they don't sign? What if they don't sign?
Yeah.
The person's present. They have access to the person. The person's coming to pick up the kids this afternoon. But what if he or she doesn't sign? And I say, right, well, not necessarily. We're not at the contesting point yet. But if someone doesn't sign, here's a simple answer. They have to get served.
Mm-hmm.
They have to get served. And fortunately, unfortunately, a lot of us know what that means. But I'll explain to the small percentage of people who have never been served or never had to serve anybody, or you didn't see Ice Cube in Friday or whatever movie that was, when they said you got served. You know, what happens is this. Any adult over the age of 18, if they do not have a license, they can only do it 5 times in the calendar year. Any adult over the age of 18 can go to your soon-to-be ex-spouse, deliver a copy of the file paperwork to him or her, and then they would sign something called an affidavit of service, declaring that the person was made aware. Why is this a big deal? Because the courts say, both of you knew when you were getting married, and I have proof of that because it's a marriage certificate that both of you signed the license for, that I need to see proof that your spouse knows that the divorce is happening. Because many people think, like the answer that you both shared, many people think they can do the divorce with no signature. There's no such thing as a divorce with no signature for $199. That means that you're easily going to get divorced and walk off into the sunset, kick up your heels. You don't have to do anything. And for $1.99, your whole life is transformed again. That's a lie. That's a lie. And we're here to dispel that.
Okay, but you mentioned something very important, and you say pro se. I do a lot of my court engagements, I should say, as pro se. But I would say to people out there that's looking, don't look for a quick pick me, look for anything free. If you don't already know what you're doing, really go to a professional. I do a lot of things pro se because I know what I'm doing. But when I'm running and my time is a little congested, I do reach out and pay somebody for that service, because you're spending time, you're wasting time. When you go to the judge, they sign things, not sign off, and then now you got to go back and start all over again. And the thing is, there's certain forms, particularly like the Bloomberg forms the courts use, and certain documentation, people just think they can go online and just print out documents and things and get it made, and you're paying for stuff that the courts are not even recognizing the forms.
Oh, I hope everybody heard that. I hope everybody heard that. You told some truth just now. You know, but what happens then? Go ahead, please, Shannon.
No, I was gonna say when you come to get the divorce, I mean, you wouldn't have spoken to the spouse already to let them know, okay, we getting a divorce, and we need to, get the divorce papers and everything, like, because I don't understand, why would you go down there to get a divorce without the person knowing about it anyway? Like, if you can't you come to an agreement that we're going to divorce now, that this is not working, and we're going to get a divorce, and just go ahead with the two of you? I mean, I don't understand, why would you even go down there and the person don't know they're getting a divorce?
Well, there's
maturity. Well, maturity is it needs to be emphasized here. And a lot of people, and I'm not saying they're immature overall, but they're in a vulnerable point. And I have to have grace in this answer, because I can be funny and say a lot of stuff, but I want to come with grace, because a lot of times it's such a life-changing decision. And you should obviously include the other person, because you're changing their life also. Yeah. But I'll tell you, what you tend to see is most people think they're starting the divorce, but what I try to do is I try to set them back a step. I tell them two things. I say no to the majority of people that call my office, because they don't sound like they're ready. And I can tell you another day, I can tell you stories about people cursing me out, hanging up the phone, telling me that I'm crazy. And how do I know them? Oh, I must know their wife, or I must know their husband. I've had people accuse me of sleeping with their wife because I would do their divorce. It's like, I know your wife. I didn't know who you are. So with that said, a lot of people are they're so afraid of what it may feel like. They fear the unknown. So they just jump right ahead and say, I need to hire somebody. And that's one of the catchiest things that bothers me. Shout out to all my lawyer friends, but a lot of lawyers that I know, they know that they make a lot of money off of fear. And I don't believe in that. I totally refuse that. I like for people to know I'm a tool. My office is a tool in your life. We're a very small part of the big picture of your life. We're an important part of your life right now. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you go off into the sunset on your own, and you better hope you pick the right person to help you, to guide you, counsel you, and to do all the technical things that you probably should never, ever have to do again. In other words, don't get divorced again. Maybe get married again, but don't get divorced again.
Yeah, but then again, I echo the sentiment of what you're saying, because a lot of people really don't know what's in the lion's den once they get out there. But a lot of people, I think, are just not really ready. And a lot of people say, oh, don't get married, don't get divorced before 10 years because Social Security says it, you can say. So there's a lot of things that come, with that. And they're like, wait a minute,
the streets be talking.
Exactly. Like,
but the thing about that is, if, you say that and everything, you never know if you are completely ready. Nobody knows what's going to happen when you get married, you going down that aisle thinking you're gonna be together for the rest of your life. And a lot of people stay together until they die behind each other, die together, or whatever. So
for the wrong
really
reasons, though, Lottie.
never know what's gonna happen. You don't know what's gonna happen. You want to get married to stay together. So when you get married, and then you just have to try to make sure that you work it out. If it comes to the point, say if that person is beating you up, you know what I'm saying? It's a domestic violence.
Okay, this is serious
like
now.
Then it's time to go. So either it's gonna be going because either I'm gonna kill you or you're gonna kill me. Because we're not gonna have that. I'm just saying if it's not one of those situations and stuff like that, before you start jumping to wanting to get a divorce and all like that, at least try to see if you can work it out. You know what I'm saying? And then if you just see the love is gone. Now, see, once the love is gone, then it's time to go. If the love is still there, then why is it that you can't work it out? I don't get it.
I'm going to jump on over that one. Go ahead, Dr. B. I'm going to jump on that.
Was love there from the beginning? I find too many people getting married too young, too soon, and for the wrong reasons. And to me, marriage is overrated. I'm sorry. Marriage is overrated. It's not for everyone. Sometimes people don't understand what's the purpose of serving. You know, so I'm going to leave that thought. I'm going to put that in right there.
But the thing about it is, you say it's overrated, but see, I think marriage is a good thing. I mean, I didn't have no problem being married because I like to take care of somebody. I like to take care of my man. I don't have no problem cooking.
Well, you know what I'm saying?
I just said, like you said, it's not for everybody, but marriage is for a lot of people. And they do work it out and they stay together.
Yes.
So, okay. All right. So we're going to have to finish this part in the after show because our time I run out for this part of the show. So we want to thank you for joining us tonight, Mr. Sandler. And we want to thank you all for watching. And if you want to continue with us, you can stay for the after show. And we're going to continue the show there. So make sure you like us on Facebook. Go to our YouTube and subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching. And we'll see you next time.
Today's show is sponsored by Abu's Bakery. If you have a sweet tooth, stop by Abu's Bakery for some delicious cakes and pies.
Do you like beautiful pictures for your home or your office? Then stop by Space Art Gallery. They have a large selection of pictures from around the world.
It's Shana.